Hello, dear friends. In quotes, I'm firmly convinced that Spain is the strongest country in the world. It has been trying to destroy itself for centuries and has not yet succeeded. The day they stop trying, they will once again be the vanguard of the world, said German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck. Opinion piece. Take off. Rise up. Fly high. Dark night. Surprising change. Spiritual hangover. Incredible transition. Accelerated ascension. You are not of this world. Let's start. The so-called dark night of the soul comes when everything we believed to be true, pure, loving, and in perfect resonance with who we are is no longer so. According to Natalia Alba, we see people differently and our reality begins to feel strange, as if we were in a nightmare and everything seems distorted. Everything remains the same. It is you who has changed and embodied a higher level of consciousness from which you can distinguish the authentic from the false. This life was never about you, says Judith Castle. Before you were born, you were fully informed that the old earth would disintegrate and give way to the new golden age. You agreed to anchor yourself in your own soul's talents, skills, knowledge, and fields of expertise, and rise fully to the forefront as you choose to ascend into the new light body and then anchor all of this into the new golden age with unconditional love and inspiration in perfect alignment with divine will and purpose. It was never for self service, always in the highest and most supportive way for the highest good of all. You are being reminded of this, for we are now in an accelerated ascension and things will happen and unfold at lightning speed. Do not allow anything or anyone to distract you or throw you off course. This is so important now and in the months and years ahead as we see the work complete. You are you are on the verge of another amazing shift. Imagine the ocean before a tidal wave. All the water is swept out to sea as the wave gains strength and speed. You may be left standing on the wet sand, wondering what is happening. This is the time to release fear, gather your resources, and allow yourself to be centered and at peace. With the universe as your partner, you will be able to move forward with grace and ease. Use the gifts and knowledge without reservation to help yourself and others through this very interesting time. USA. Wall Street deflates and only the Dow Jones remains in the green. The US economy grew at a rate of 2.8% in the second quarter. The US reaches a record in electricity generation from natural gas. The US opposes a global tax on the wealth of the ultra-rich. To be part of the top 1% in California, a household would have to earn more than $1 million a year. The Bank of Canada cuts rates again, putting pressure on the Fed to do the same. In Idaho, the government is trying to fine farmers $300 per acre to force them to stop using water. The government wants to close 500,000 hectares. The White House contradicts Netanyahu. In quotes, there have been civilian casualties in Rafah. Harris tells Netanyahu it's time to close the hostage deal and end the war in Gaza. It's time for this war to end, Harris tells Netanyahu. I will not be silent in the face of Palestinian suffering, she said. Trump's opposition to central bank digital currencies could boost the appeal of cryptocurrencies. During Trump's speech on July 13th, a UFO flew by seconds before the attack. Russian and Chinese military aircraft intercepted in Alaska air defense zone. Europe. More than 100 flights cancelled in Germany as environmental activists attack airports across Europe. Germany has refused to reveal details of the investigation into the Nord Stream explosions. There will be no celebration at the Paris Olympics because the city is a bunker. Microsoft blames the European Union for the world's worst computer failure. The ECB is putting pressure on banks to correct their governance deficiencies. Germany's top bank, Deutsche Bank, reports a significant profit fall in the first half of 2024. Germany's Audi electric vehicle factory is on the verge of closure due to plummeting sales. Germany at risk of isolation. Relying on France and the US for its security and defense, Germany could find itself isolated and threatened, write to researchers from the European Council of Foreign Relations. British newspapers warned of the danger of a cashless society after a global computer blackout. Portugal declares war on digital nomads over inflation. Lisbon welcomed everyone thanks to its cheap rent, mild winter, young population, and vibrant social scene. Last week, the EU court ruled that European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen broke the law. The European Commissioner for Home Affairs wants 1 million migrants per year in Europe. She is Swedish, but Sweden has closed its border to illegal immigration and doesn't allow southern countries to do the same, according to Colonel Baños' channel. Spain. Inflation and high rates sink corporate profits. Record number of hotel stays until June thanks to foreign tourists. The number of tourists from Eastern Europe, India and Southeast Asia is growing. Brussels files a complaint against Spain for restricting pension plans and discriminated against temporary workers. Spain opens an investigation against Apple for alleged anti-competitive practices. The largest Spanish energy companies earn 30% more until June. Banco Santander earns 6,059 million until June, 16% more due to record income. Renfe opens a branch in the Emirates to bid for a second AVE in the desert. Poland enters the game in the bidding for the Talgo and joins the interest of Hungary and the Czech Skoda. The Bishop of Córdoba warns of the territorial disintegration of Spain. The Supreme Court takes the amnesty to the Constitutional Court and calls the process a coup d'état. The European Commission transferred 16 Palestinian children from Gaza to Spanish hospitals. Jaime del Burgo predicts that Spain will change in 2027 with a new constitution and open lists of electoral candidates. He may be right. Americas. 2,000 migrants advance in a new caravan through southern Mexico. Mexico faces a political landscape reluctant to irregular immigration. Imminent deportation of immigrants from Panama to countries of origin. Trump says drug cartels rule Mexico, and Sheinbaum disagrees. Claudia Sheinbaum responds to Trump and rejects that the cartels control Mexico. AMLO believes that closing the border would be equivalent to calling for a rebellion, in his opinion. Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville referred to some of the migrants arriving through Mexico as trash in quotes. Elon Musk poses construction of Tesla factory in Mexico for USA elections. AMLO lashes out at the IMF for criticizing nearshoring in Mexico, which allows companies to benefit from geographic proximity. The US sanctions the Guatemala Lopez organization dedicated to migrant trafficking. Search for missing people suspended after Malvinas shipwreck with Spaniards. The Argentine government confirms the shipment of gold for foreign banks. Argentina accelerates construction of a liquefaction plant, one of the largest in its history. The Argentine province of La Rioja is going against Milei's grain with a new constitution to guarantee rights such as connectivity, health, education, water, energy and food, and universal basic income, among other things. The government of Santa Cruz, Bolivia, declares emergency due to drought and forest fires. The president of the judiciary of Peru in favor of the use of the army against crime. One of the Peru's alien mummies unveiled by Maussan have fingerprints that are not human. Haitian government declares state of emergency in gang-controlled municipalities. Puerto Rico bans discrimination based on Afro hair. Brazil halves the number of people with food insecurity. Brazil says the proposal to create a tax on the ultra-rich was hailed by the G20. The EU donates 20 million euros to Brazil for the Amazon Fund against deforestation. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.